Okay. Hello. Sorry, I had a sneeze. Hello guys, I'm RDA. And I'm gonna be playing some Spyro for you guys. Not sure if this has been shown off in a Midwest Speedwest event before. Um, if it has, cool. Awesome. If it hasn't, welcome. Um, there's actually gonna be a lot of information that I'm gonna be throwing at you guys, so feel free to ask questions if you have them, but I'm gonna be talking a lot because there's a lot of information. It's a pretty interesting game. It's a Game Boy game, so it's pretty glitchy. And it's a platformer, so it's also interesting. Timing starts on the selection of yes here. Um, and I'm gonna count down from three and on go. So three, two, one, go. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm doing a soft reset after I uh, start the file. Um, and the reason I'm doing that is because I want to basically give myself a life underflow glitch. Um, and the reason that there's no game audio is because music lags the game and it loses a couple minutes. So it's a lot faster to just have the music off. It reduces a lot of lag. Um, which kind of affects the way you play some levels as well. So enjoy the enjoy the other sound effects that are in this game. But this is a Game Boy game, so there are definitely a lot of those kinds of quirks that you'll see that are kind of similar in other Game Boy games. Um, so the reason that I have a life underflow glitch is if you start a a new file on a file that has any kind of percentage done onto it, um, and then you soft reset during uh, basically any time during the cutscene. There's a beginning cutscene that you're supposed to watch, but if you soft reset on that file, it'll just you'll get a life underflow glitch where instead of having 5 lives at the start and a spark that is visible, you have 0 lives at the start and you have an invisible sparks. Um, our sparks is going to be kind of weird for the rest of the run, but it's not that bad once you get the first fodder, which is health. Um, but we have to fix our life at the moment. Whoops. Because that's not good. I'm just going to reset that stage. So the reason that I need to have like no deaths at the beginning of the stage is because in order to fix the life underflow, we have to collect a life. Um, and if I die before then, which I did there, uh, it basically makes it so I can't fix the underflow, which is not like bad. It just makes it so I can't do certain routes with the game. There's two different instances that we're going to be uh, like uh, game overing to save time in menuing. Whoops. One of them's going to be right here at the beginning, and the other one's going to be at the end. So there's also going to be basically 5 different deaths that are going to be routed into the run that we do that are basically faster and or equal to the speed that you would have to do it normally due to loads. I died again. That's okay. I'll just fix this. It's okay. It's just a little harder to fix it like this. Also about this stage, we're doing the stage backwards. Generally, you go through the stage to the right, and then you go around, and you can't burn the hay, and then you get to the end, and then you can. So I should fix it. But we can fly over fences as long as we're like at the high enough platform. So we can just like basically do a sequence break in the level. which is faster. Oh, I did not fixed it? So here's, look at that. This is the underflow glitch. Okay, I can fix this now. Oops. Press one more time, right? Do I have the thing? Yeah, we're good. Sorry. This actually doesn't happen very often. That the jumps in this game are relatively tight, but I've kind of made this game somewhat consistent in terms of like how I just do the movements. I usually do them in somewhat of a similar way every time I do the run. It makes running the game a lot easier. So apologies, but I've also been doing a lot of other things outside of gaming. I was doing a Brawl All Challenges run the other day, and yeah, I just like did some de-rust not long ago, and didn't go too bad. So hopefully this is the rest of the rust just wearing off, you know. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Come back over, hit the haystack. So, that's the last haystack, and it shows that. Once you get the last of any challenge or any mission, the firefly will usually just spawn unless you have to talk to someone. So right there, I collected the firefly and died at the same time. And when I collected the life, I fixed the life underflow. So obviously I can't die before I collect that life. And there's a couple times they can collect it beforehand. Oops, I didn't even do that. But it's just a little faster to do it at the end of the level. So you just have to make sure you don't die before you collect a life, and then you'll be able to just do this particular route. So the reason I want to game over and start like at the beginning here is because I'm sorry. It is hard to play this game and talk at the same time. Gee whiz. Hold down. Boom, boom, wabam. Holy moly. Those guys are, all the things in this game have an AI, so you can kind of manipulate where anything goes as long as you're like doing it good enough. So similar to like how I have some movements kind of memorized down for each levels, I kind of have some particular patterns that I have to do in order to like not get hit by an enemy or something. Or to like get a firefly optimally, because you'll see me like jumping into fireflies or gliding into them as well, because it's just more space that I'm able to cover that I would normally not be able to stand. So either gliding or charge jumping into it is ideal. That wasn't too bad. We had to bring this horseshoe back to him, and similar to the beginning where you can just kind of like sequence break by jumping over fences, you can do the same thing there. So we jumped over the fence. Another thing that we'll see a little later is that this segment right there of watching the money and saving the game, it's really slow. And if there's enough gems collected in a stage, and like depending on where the beginning of the hub world puts you at, we're going to save and quit so that we don't have to actually watch that. There's only a couple instances where it's faster, and it's generally more faster in longer categories where you have to collect more gems. But there are some instances in this category. Oh, wow. That guy is rude. So this is a level that generally Actually, you only need ice in it. You don't need fire in it at all. Like, you can use fire to kill enemies if you want, but you can just use ice at the same time. And some enemies, like the mummies, they only can die with ice. Anyway, so I want to take that death there because that's one of the deaths that is routed in to the run. I did it a little safer than normal. That is fine. And that was kind of a way that you can manipulate fireflies. I don't go exactly like right to them. Oops. I like to go around the back and be able to glide into them. There's a little sloppy, but that's cool. I wanted to hit that bomb with enough force so that I'd be able to fly over the water while the text box showed up. And this glitch is one of the only route differences between like beginner and advanced routes for this category. Normally you would do another firefly at the introduction, which is Hunter. He does like some platforming on the platforms, and he just teaches you how to do it, and it's kind of slow. And doing that particular firefly where we clipped into the boulder is a little faster if you can do it like pretty perfectly. Not necessarily perfectly, but you have to do it pretty quickly. But especially with the routed in death, it's definitely a little bit more worth it to go for it. But yeah. This next level is really freaking hard. Actually, a lot of the harder levels are at the beginning of the game. The first level isn't actually that hard, but the next three are, like these three that we're at right now, are generally run killers. And then the next, like the second world is also pretty difficult, but the last world's really easy. So. And that's mainly because of how you have to like actually beat the game. So this is the sequel to Season of Ice, which was the first Spyro handheld game, I think. Pretty sure the first one. I know it was the first one of this trilogy at least. Trilogy being Season of Ice, Season of Flame, and Attack of the Rhinox. Ooh, that was good. But in Season of Ice, there was a lot of more requirements in order to actually beat the game. And by that, I just mean you have to literally get all the fireflies in the game in order to just beat the game. So like the difference between any percent and 100% is not that different. But in this game, you only need to collect 75 fireflies, and also the way that the fireflies and the way the levels are like mapped out, and also the game's kind of just a little bit more refined. It's just a lot quicker. Season of Ice is an interesting game. It's like literally nothing like this. It looks like it, but it's nothing like it. But this is our first boss. I think I kind of ridiculous. You can run at them before they start talking. So you like to run and then charge jump and get a little closer to them. Crush is probably the hardest boss. We'll see if I can get this here. Okay, he did a weird thing. That's okay though. So in order to get this in a one cycle, you had to make sure you get you have to make sure you get 2 extra snowballs thrown, and then he jumps at you like right away. Otherwise, the snowballs will just go away. So it's a pretty tight cycle to get, but it's a neat cycle when you get it. But you can't be too quick about it. If you hit him on the exact frame as he lands on the ground, he'll just bounce, and he'll bounce into the lava, but he like won't get hurt by the lava. So you have to like jump in after him. It's really funny. Really, it's a, it's a, what, I can't think of the word, but it's not a benefit to being frame perfect. Which a lot, like there's a lot of frame like specific strats in this run. Um, I've been working on this game for a couple years. I started it in 2018, but I started taking it seriously at like the end of 2019. Um, and after I kind of like got just like a better handle of the game, actually I need to die. I was supposed to die while collecting that firefly, but it's still fine. So I want to die here twice just because it is actually like a barely even slower to die and collect that firefly than it is to collect it and go into the door. But anyway, after I got a little bit more comfortable with the game, I started to like just do more research, and I found some TAS content of this game that's like really old, but I decided to try and implement as much as I could from that TAS into my gameplay. And that's where we are at today. So it's been pretty cool for sure. And I really like this speedrun. It's probably my favorite speedrun that I do in terms of just like a pure speed game. It's so fast and satisfying to do. It's also like pretty short. It is like daunting to learn because especially like any percent versus any of the other or like 100% or anything like that. It's a lot different, but this was like one of my first games I ever played as a child, so it's pretty cool that I can like speedrun it now. So now that we're done with that, oh, I collected a gem, dang. So you can actually jump over doors. I did it in the Haunted Hills section. Doors only have hitboxes at like the ground, so as long as you don't hit the ground into a door, then it doesn't matter. Also, I did a death warp thing in Haunted Hills. As long as you don't hit a checkpoint and you die in a specific area, you'll just respawn in that like mission, which I was in a little mini game that I manipulated the hitboxes of the checkpoint, like that says that you won the mini game basically, so you don't have to do it. And this is a pretty like just movement based level. It's very fast paced if it's like done properly. There's some like levels kind of like Haunted Hills that have like some gimmicks, like the mini games or imps or something like that. But then there's levels like this where it's just go do the missions as fast as possible. There aren't like too many options in terms of like other fireflies that would be possibly faster to get. It's kind of obvious what fireflies are like faster, which is kind of funny. That's also why like the differences between any percent and like 100% or all fireflies or whatever is so much different. You do like so many easy fireflies because the game has a lot of just easy to get fireflies, and it's just enough to like not have to do too much to beat the game because the only requirement is to getting 75 fireflies. That's it. So in the first world we get 30 of them out of 75, and then we're gonna get the like pretty much the rest of them in this world as well. Oh wait, I want that. So like that's kind of why the last world is generally supposed to be the hardest. It's not really the hardest because we don't have to get that many fireflies. This is a pretty unique stage. I have to kill all these enemies that are charging at us, and the only way you can kill them is by charging at them. So it minimizes the way I can kind of normally do movement, because you can normally just kill enemies with fire or something. I'm also like just measly my way around that checkpoint over there. Checkpoints are all the little fairies um, that are around there. Sometimes I'll hit them because it doesn't matter, but a lot of times I won't want to hit them. Um, and we'll see why later. I'll also do a death warp in this level. That was perfect. That was really good. Again, everything's manipulatable, so if you can just make it so they don't think you're going to get there, they'll just keep running, and then you'll get there. And a lot of those, like, a lot of that information I've just learned from watching those task videos. There was a lot of information from the original runners and world record holder, but I just kind of enhanced a lot of them by watching the tasks. And it wasn't really even a full task. It was just like an unoptimized playing of the game thing. It was pretty neat. That was pretty good. So I didn't get the checkpoint because you collect the firefly and kill the enemy at the same time, so you can skip the tech boxes and like glide into the water. That should be fine. Cool. And then when you die, you start back at the start where you have to go anyway to get the firefly. So that's why you don't get the checkpoint. And then at the start there, I just implemented more of the platforming, gliding from a higher level, being able to skip just having to stand there and watch the text box go up and down. We're getting like pretty close to the end, just like in the last couple levels at least. So we're not gonna have to do like as many fireflies in the levels, unless it's faster. I think there's like one more where we do a bunch of them, but for the most part, the rest of them are gonna be like four of them or something. Ooh, I didn't get it. Living on the edge. I have to make sure I get to a certain part of the level in time with this fire breath. I generally can do that, but it's not typically. Oh, that's fine. That's okay. That's okay. It's a fast level. So I need to not actually like eat that death because I have so I've been routing my deaths throughout this run. And I'm at my last one, so if I die now, I will game over again. And I want to save that for actually the next level that we're gonna go to. So, boop. Okay. You have to use this fire breath to hit the candles specifically. It's the only thing. Really been, come on, man. Quite the nuisance, but you only need to get here with like, you know, a couple seconds left. That used to be a lot more of a tight cycle than it is now. I kind of just like, there was a lot, specifically the glide at the beginning where you just kind of glide around and shoot the fire at the second candle or third candle. It saves like a lot of time just like in game on the clock. So it's really crazy how much time like 3 seconds saves in this speed run. Do it. I'm also like jumping into fireflies, so I don't have to get the text box. Pausing is generally kind of a broken like mechanic in a lot of like handheld games. So in this game, it's not an exception. You can pause like any time pretty much. So you can pause to like almost get out of any issue you can be in or something like that. But also to like skip text boxes. This is Gulp. He is interesting. He's the only like real instance of RNG in any percent. That's bad RNG. You want him to shoot it at like. Ooh, that's fine, I guess. I just need to make sure I don't like get too low of health. Okay. You just want to shoot on the other side, on the opposite side of where. What am I trying to say? It's kind of hard to actually put into words. the outermost part of him is where you want him to shoot, because the missile will go further around and it'll hit him. The only way you'll collect the missile is if it hits him, because then it'll hit the ground. Or it'll eventually like peter out, but that's slower. So, but now we're in the last level or last world. Boop boop boop. Collecting the last couple like bits that we need. We're already at 60, so we don't need too much more out of the many levels here. So a lot of the levels that we are skipping are levels that you don't normally play as Spyro with, or you just don't play Spyro with that at all. There are Agent 9, which is like a monkey with a gun. There's a bunch of those stages, and there's Sheila, who's a kangaroo. And then there's like a lot of content that we're just like not doing in the levels as well, not collecting the gems, and not even doing all of the fireflies. So there's a lot we're skipping, but it is kind of funny how how fast the like last world goes compared to the rest of the run. And also, the in-game percentage is like, after we do an 90% run, the in-game percentage is going to be like 8% or something. That was a lot of lag. So similar to the Haunted Hills level as well, we're going to have a way to cheat the system a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. GG, GG. Oh, if you can like time that just where she starts talking to you as you collect the firefly, you can save a little bit of time, but it's not, that's like, it's not perfect. You don't need to do it. It's whatever. Saves many frames. That's about it. Alright, so we got those 2 fireflies because they give us 2 of them for doing the same thing. It's supposed to do it on like a harder difficulty, I think, but you know, whatever. 69 fireflies, very nice, very nice. And now we're going to be going into the last world. So another thing that has been implemented in the speedruns of this game, but is just generally not that fast in this category, except for one that we're going to do at the end of the run, is out of bounds. You can go out of bounds in any stage, as long as the platforms that you're able to like run on are close enough to the side to where you can get on. Basically, it's like an invisible outlining of the levels that you can just run on and do whatever pretty much, and you can just run on the outside of levels and skip a lot of stuff. Generally it's not helpful, and it's also unsafe to go for in like anything other than hub worlds, but in other categories it is kind of more useful because it gives you more versatility of where you can go. But here I routed it so that we take advantage of the time save we get from not having to do the, like, watch the saving of the fireflies after Moon Fondue, which is the first level where we game overed in. We save time at like the end of that level and also at the beginning of Dreamy Castle, which was the next one. It just saves a lot of time in loading, and we don't also collect any gems, which is fast as well. So, finish this level, go out of here normally. I think I actually was supposed to collect a gem going into here, so if I didn't, that's okay. I'll just have 1 gem, but generally you go into this stage making it so that you don't collect a gem. Okay, good, good, good. Go here, hug the far right, and we're out of bounds. So that particular platform is just far enough out of, like, to the right that I can just literally run off the ledge and go out of bounds. So I can skip collecting all the gems, and there's a platform that goes up and down. I have to wait for the cycle. I can just skip all that and go right over here, which saves a lot of time because I don't have to collect any gems, especially. It saves like 3 seconds. And another thing that's been implemented recently in like the really fast categories of the game is a faster way to fight Ripto, like that. So generally you're supposed to fight his force fields with all the different ability like power-ups, but you can just pause while you're jumping into it, and then you can hit him as fast as possible. And time's gonna be when I see the cutscenes. It'll be in a couple seconds. Sorry, I was talking a lot. Time. I'm sorry. I know you said to to warn you in advance, but I already warned that I was gonna be talking a lot. I also went over estimate. I'm sorry. I hope you guys enjoyed it though.
It's alright, RD. Thank you for the run.
I had a great time. This was fun. I
Happy to have you.
had a very good showcase of the first level, and then we moved on.
Any last shoutouts before we transition over?
And shouts to you guys. Thanks for having me on the. I appreciate it. I appreciate letting me show off my crafts, my quirks, and I just appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
No, you too, friend. Thank you.